Our first guest tonight is a two-time Grammy Award-winning multi-platinum singer, a songwriter, and actress. Her latest album, Man's Best Friend, was nominated for 6 Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year. Please welcome to the show, Sabrina Carpenter, everybody. I am very, very happy you're here. Congratulations on your Grammy nominations.
Thank you so much.
I mean, I imagine you go into that morning hopeful, but you probably don't expect 6. What was your realization as they started coming in?
No, I was nominated for the first time last year. So I literally just got here. So I was like not expecting anything, and I made this album out of pure love and friendship and inspiration, and I was just like, I was actually really, really shocked. So thank you. I'm excited.
That's great. I mean, Album of the Year sounds like certainly the biggest one. Does that one mean more than the others, or do they all sort of? I mean, again, everything, the effort is equal probably in all.
The album definitely takes longer than all the other ones.
That's true.
Right? Because a whole album takes a lot longer than one song.
I'm not in music, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But if that does seem to make math sense now that you say it.
Yeah. So the album means so much to me. And then also, music video was a new one. I've never been nominated for music video.
Yeah.
And
A lot when I will say, I had
so reactive.
They're very reactive. But weirdly, can I say something? Weirdly less for me earlier.
Weird.
Yeah. We're gonna work on it later to figure out what exactly. I think maybe my mic was off.
It was low.
It was low. You were
was
backstage.
low.
You know sound.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I know sound. I love music.
It's like it's such a fun, big music video. Like it feels like an old school throwback to the idea of like let's be grand with the idea of like what we're gonna try to put on screen.
That was like actually the video in my head when I was writing the song, and I couldn't believe it came to life. And it's just one of those videos that you watch and you're just like, wait, what? I need to go back and watch that. Was that like a cow on its head? Or,
Yeah.
or am I on drugs? Or what's going on? And I really like that because I think I make pop music, and sometimes you don't expect to see those visuals in a song like that. So that one means a lot to me. I'm very excited that everyone's liked the video. So
It's
yeah.
beautiful. I
Thanks.
did feel bad. Like I feel bad for every guy who got the call that's like, you're gonna be in a Sabrina Carpenter video. And they were like, oh my God, am I cool? It's like, no. You're like, they wanted 50 different versions of a dummy.
I have so many stories. I mean, yeah, it's a very humbling casting call. And you know what? The most awesome thing is when they show up like, I'm ready to be the man-child of your dreams. You're just like,
right. They
okay.
misunderstood. They misunderstood the song.
Yeah. And they're like, well, sort of, but
Yeah.
no.
They're like, my name's Dave. I do not understand irony. And I am looking to party with you. Did any mishaps? Because it did feel like you were out in the great outdoors.
I was out in the good outdoors. I fell in a cactus.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. That was so tender. It's so easy to laugh when people get hurt, and I did, but then I started crying, and then, no, don't feel bad. I was, there was a medic. I just, for the rest of the day, was picking out of...
Yeah, it's no joke. When you back into a cactus, like, it's with you
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, that shoot was so ambitious. We shot 37 outfits.
Yeah. How many days did it take, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, so it took 2 at first, and then I watched the edit, and I was like, it's not crazy enough yet. And it was already pretty crazy. So we went back and we shot a 3rd day. That was probably my biggest shoot I've ever done. I'm so grateful to be able to make that production of my dreams. But it was definitely like we endured a lot of pain to get the finished product.
What day
so
of the 3
please watch
days?
it.
Yeah, it's a great video.
Please watch it.
And I do think, and now I need to know, what day did you hit the cactus?
I hit the cactus day 2.
Oh, wow. And you
Yeah.
still were willing to go out to day 3. That shows a real love of the game.
I'm a professional.
You're a pro, yeah.
Yep.
You wrapped up an incredible tour. Congratulations
Thank
on that
you.
as well. Do you have, I would imagine, friends and family turn out for you while you're on the road?
Yeah.
Do you like having friends and family at your show?
I just love it because it's like, what if I did say like, no?
But you didn't do that many shows, right?
I did 70 shows.
Well, so they probably were busy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, life is so crazy. There's so much going on. No, my parents, they look at it like a sporting event to be able to come to, we just finished the last 6 shows of the show were in Los Angeles, and we played 6 shows at the Crypto Arena, and my parents both came, and my mom, like, one night, like, brought all of these I didn't know she was a cheerleader, all these cheerleader friends. And like after the show, they're like wine drunk. They come backstage and they're just like, "This was the best night ever." And I'm just like, "Oh, that's so great!" Like I never get to watch the show,
Yeah.
because I'm always on stage, but they're having a great time. And then the rest of the guests, like over the last 70 shows, I arrested. I don't know if you know I do that.
Yes, I do. Yes.
Because I never asked you, but next show.
Oh, thank you.
But
You only did the 70.
but there's so many more. But yeah, so I arrested a lot of people, and one night it was in London, and they told me that Janet Jackson was coming to the show, and I was just like, she's not busy? Like with something else? Like, and how did she even find out about this show? Shows aren't really promoted like that anymore. You gotta kind of search for it.
Yeah.
You gotta be like a fan and go on, the streaming apps and look
I love that someone told you Janet Jackson was coming and all your follow-ups were about logistics.
Yeah. I was so excited, but
Yeah.
I was just like, surely she'll have a dinner and something will come up and she won't be able to come, and she did, and she was so lovely.
Oh my God! And then when you met her, you were like, "Did you drive here? How did you get here?" She's like, "Wow, she really wants to know the details." Yeah. I have a lot more to ask you. Will you stick around?
Yeah.
You guys, this is Sabrina Carpenter. Welcome back. We're here with Sabrina Carpenter. Because you mentioned, obviously, you knew ahead of time that Janet Jackson was coming to the show. Do you like to know everyone who's coming ahead of time?
Yeah. No, not everyone.
Who don't you want to know?
If they're really attractive, I don't want to know.
Okay. That must be heartbreaking if someone says they're coming and they're like, "We can tell her."
Yeah, for that person.
God, are you in your head if you know someone's really attractive? Is there ahead of time?
Honestly, I'd probably perform better, but I've just always told myself, like, just don't tell me, and I'll know afterwards, and then I can just be very nonchalant.
Yeah. That I think nonchalant is the hardest thing to fake, and so like it's good to be genuinely nonchalant.
Genuinely nonchalant.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
let's not fake
you when you wrapped up your tour, you put some messages on TikTok that I want to see about. You said saying goodbye to the heart pit, where I pretended to be shocked by the surprise song. I think it's very nice. Now, be honest. We talked about how it's hard to fake nonchalance. Do you think your audience actually thought you were surprised by the surprise song? I don't know the answer. I mean,
It'd be so terrible if I was like, yeah, they're idiots. It's not that. I think it's like in the heat of the show.
yeah.
It's like Christmas. It's like magical.
I mean,
You
the
can't tell them
conceit's
the truth.
fantastic. Yeah.
But I have to rehearse it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what it is true is that it's sort of a surprise for me, but I have options of things that I've rehearsed, and then I'm surprised by what the option is.
That's good. So
So
there's a little surprise.
There's a little bit of honesty.
You're right. Nobody wants a genuine surprise, and then you do like a super janky version of a song.
No. They think they do, but they don't want that.
This I thought was a nice moment of honesty too. The stairs that humbled my ass one too many times. So, how often did you just regret the whole doing stairs thing?
In heels, thoroughly.
Yeah.
And it really started to get worse at the end.
Oh, you didn't get better at stairs.
No.
Wow.
Ironically, I think I got so excited, like the tour was ending, and I was just like on a high. I was like, I only got 10 shows left. Let's like really give it a 12 tonight, and then I would just eat plant every single chance I got. My dancers would sort of just look at me like, "Ooh," and they'd keep moving, and I would just sort of be like, okay. But
I think that's when you know there's 10 shows left, is when the dancers don't go back for you.
no.
Yeah. They're
Yeah,
like, we gotta
exactly.
move on. We all got 10 shows left.
You know what that's
I know what it's
like.
like. My crew would leave me for dead.
Like-
Hey, I wanted to ask, the first time I met you very briefly at the end of SNL 50th, and I think you had the hardest job
at the SNL 50th, which is you opened the show, and it was you and Paul Simon. And
Yeah.
what was that like?
I never thought I would collab with Paul Simon
Yeah.
when I was born. I never even thought that that was in, the ether. So when Lauren had asked us to do this song together, which is one of my favorite songs of all time, and Paul Simon's one of my favorite songwriters and artists of all time, I was just like, weird. Yes, and then I'll figure it out later. So later was like the night that it happened.
Yeah.
It's not that crazy. It was like, it was just really sweet and tender. I think for a moment I felt like I had something in common with Paul Simon, which is that we were both scared and we were about to open the SNL 50 and we were just like, this is real, man. Like,
Yeah.
this is very scary and intimidating.
And I think there's a real truism there, which is, right, Paul Simon has done it so many times.
Yes.
And yet, I think there's no amount of times to do it to not be scared shitless, especially like that moment before the show starts where it's just like really quiet and you're about to
Eerie.
do, yeah. And you're about to do, I mean, for you, it's harder than anything I've had to do. I mean, I've had to talk. I haven't had to like sing.
But talking's hard.
Thank you. Nobody has enough respect for how hard it is to talk every night. But also, like, your audience was the level of difficulty of that audience, right? You have the most famous people that have maybe ever been in a room. I'm glad I didn't have this conversation with you right before you went on. But I am, like, getting nerves retroactively on your behalf. But I will say, did then doing SNL, you did double duty, which is the hardest thing in the world to do.
Thank
You're
you.
fantastic. Did it feel a little bit easier having done the 50th?
No.
Yeah.
No, it was, I think because it was the double duty of it all. I'd always wanted to do it. And then the week came and I was like, let's go. And then I was like, oh no, my throat. And then I was like, oh no, I'm getting sick. And then it was genuinely like, I felt so exercised. Like that week was a marathon. I have so much respect for the cast and the crew and the writers and the lack of.
Nothing is harder than hosting, and nothing, obviously, and then on top of that, exponentially harder to do music as well, because we were talking backstage, you never stop talking. Like, there's no time when you're hosting where they're like, just take an hour to think. Like,
No.
And I would imagine you have some remedies for, I mean, again, your voice is your gift. But like, what do you do in a moment where you feel a cold coming on? You're like, oh no.
You, you just kind of gotta figure it out. And if I hit a flat note, I hit a flat note,
Yeah.
you know? And that was one of those nights where I was just like, it doesn't matter. I'm on a race to the end. and once it starts, it doesn't stop. And I was like in and out of wigs every 30 seconds. My shoes were flying. My arm was pulled out of my socket. Like, I was just like, it wasn't real. So by the end, and I
There's
was
very
like,
bad security, I should note. Like,
anyone gets in there.
Yeah.
And I was like playing a 13-year-old boy, and then 30 seconds later, I was singing Man-Child. So it was a very like,
that's really, through the looking glass there, yeah.
yeah.
I think that was my favorite of your sketches.
Thank
What is
you.
it? Snack
Homies.
Snack Homies.
Bro.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Really funny.
Thank you.
I want to ask about one more thing you posted on TikTok. The fireplace where I never knew if the shot would be water or tequila. So, who decided if it would be water or tequila?
I don't know.
This is really never checked, huh?
I love my crew, and I guess there was a moment in time where I just sort of surrendered to the process.
Yeah.
And once it was tequila
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm fun. I can do this. and I was like, it keeps me on my toes. And like then I just really like never know what I'm gonna get with each show. And as a performer, I like to be thrown off sometimes.
There you go.
Just to see if I can handle it. So yeah, there was a few nights in there. I don't know. Now the audience has to like sort of guess and go back and try to figure it out.
It'd be funny if we found out you have a very obvious face when it's tequila, where you're like,
Or that's the face I make when it's water.
that's a water face, right? You're so repulsed by not alcohol.
I hate water.
Well, all right, so I feel like this is a good segue to, I'm gonna see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna see you tomorrow.
We're gonna go day drinking.
Yes.
And it's gonna air next week, but I'm very excited. I can't wait.
I mean, whoa.
Yeah.
You're in for something fun.
I believe it.
Yeah, watch out.
I like you're telling me to watch out for you coming on my segment.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Me
This has
too.
been delightful. I'll see you tomorrow. You
Okay,
guys,
see you tomorrow.
Sabrina Carpenter, everyone. Her Grammy-nominated album, Man's Best Friend, is available now. Don't miss Sabrina's Sector Day Drink with Latoya next Tuesday, December 16th. Stick around. We'll be right back with Joshua O'Connor.